In this lesson, we'll learn how to bring table data into InDesign from other applications like Microsoft Word or Microsoft Excel. Alright, so in the previous lesson, we learned how to create a basic table, and we left off by converting some text into this table that we're going to use for the tour schedule of this band. So let's go and take a break from that for just a moment. I'm going to come down here to this empty spread here below, and let's talk about table data for just a moment. And now, more than likely, as a designer, you're probably going to be passed data from other individuals who've created tables for you in, say, Microsoft Word or Microsoft Excel, and they're going to expect you to take that data from their table and integrate it into your layout. So InDesign has some really great tools to help you do just that. Let me go ahead and show you a couple of tables that I have included in your project files. We've got this Microsoft Word table and this Microsoft Excel table. Now both of them have the exact same data on them, and we'll be using them for this course. Notice that they're both named album_sales with the file extension .xls and .doc. So let's go ahead and first just select all the cells in this Microsoft Excel table. I'm going to copy those by going to Edit and Copy. Now let's go ahead and minimize these two tables here, and let's go ahead and come over here and select this table that I've created. Now I've created this with the same number of cells, same number of rows and columns here, and what we're going to do is we're going to just select this entire table right here, just like so. And let's just go ahead and paste in the table data that we copied to our clipboard. We can either do a Control V or come to Edit and Paste. And you can see that our table data drops right in here in an unformatted state. So we can copy data from one application into InDesign. Let's go ahead and look at another way we can bring that in. Let me go ahead and close these tables out here. We're not going to be able to do this with these files open. We'll say no to that. Alright, now a more common way to bring data in is to place it, and we can do that by going to File and choosing Place, or hitting the keyboard shortcut Control D. Now let's go ahead and go for this albumsales.xls file again. Now notice here that I have the Show Import Options box checked. If we uncheck that and hit Open, it's going to give us a loaded cursor here, and we're ready to go ahead and draw in our frame with our table. And as soon as we let go of our frame, InDesign is going to drop that unformatted table in here. But let's say that, we really don't want this formatting for our table. We want to use the tools that InDesign has to format the table data and really make it look great. So let's go ahead and delete this, and let's go ahead and bring up our Place menu again, and let's select the album sales document and choose Show Import Options. We'll hit Open there. And you see that we get the Microsoft Excel Import Options dialog here. Now, if your spreadsheet has more than one sheet to it, you can come in and select whatever sheet you want from the file. You can also specify an exact cell range that you want to bring in. It has some options here to import hidden cells, and then we've got some formatting options down here. Now notice here that right now we're set to bring in the formatted table, and if we don't want that, then we need to probably drop this down and select unformatted table. So let's go ahead and select that here. I'm going to skip over table style for right now. It also has some options for number of decimal places to include and then typographer's quotes. So let's go ahead and hit OK. Again, we get our loaded text cursor here. Let's go ahead and just draw in our text frame. And you can see here that InDesign has created a very similar table to the one we pasted in. Now this is a default InDesign table, and we know that because it's got white cells and a black stroke here, and it's probably using our basic paragraph style as well. Now at this point, it's really important to understand that this table right now is embedded into our InDesign file, which means that if we come in and make changes to the InDesign file, the Excel file itself, those changes aren't going to carry over into InDesign. If we had this set up to do that, then this file would show up in our links panel here. We would have a linked file. So I tell you what, let's go ahead and delete this table again. And I want you to come up to your Edit drop-down menu, and let's check out Preferences here. Now I know that drops out of your screen, but let's go ahead and just choose General for right now. You can use the keyboard shortcut Control K to get to this dialog, and we're going to go down here to File Handling. Now under File Handling, there's this option right here, the second to last little checkbox. It says Create Links when placing text and spreadsheet files. Now by default this is turned off. Let's go ahead and check that and turn that on for right now. Alright, great. So let's go ahead and place in our Microsoft Excel file again. We'll again make sure that Show Import Options is turned on. And let's see here. We definitely, again, want that unformatted table here. So let's go ahead and hit OK. And let's go ahead and drop in our table one more time. Now, it looks pretty much exactly the same here, but I want to show you something. Let's check out our links panel now. Now we have this link to that albumsales.xls file in our links panel. And that means that the changes that are made to that Excel file are going to be picked up here in InDesign. Let me show you what that looks like. I'm going to come over here and just open up that Excel file again. Alright, there we go. And I tell you what, let's come over here and make a change. Let's change this value right here. Let's say maybe there was an error in the spreadsheet, so maybe this 880,000 needs to be 780,000. So we'll make that change, and let's go ahead and save that, and we'll close this file out. Alright, great. So we're back over here in InDesign, and take a look at our links panel now. We now have this little yellow exclamation point next to our linked file, which indicates that there's been a change that's been made to that file, and InDesign knows that it's been made. So what we need to do now is update the link. So we'll go ahead and select the linked frame here, and let's come down here and choose this third button right here, which is the Update Link button. So we'll go ahead and click that. And in doing that, we'll just zoom in here on our data, and you can see that that 8 has now been changed to a 7. So the change to our Excel file has been carried over into InDesign because we have a linked file here. Now, as a designer, it's probably a good idea for you to communicate with whoever's generating your tables outside of InDesign and find out, hey, is there potential for changes to be made to this file, or are these figures and statistics solid enough to just embed? So with Microsoft Excel, that's a dedicated spreadsheet program, so it is possible that those figures could change. So I tell you what, that's a Microsoft Excel file. Let's go ahead and take a look at what a Microsoft Word file looks like coming in. So let's go ahead and bring up our Place dialog again. And again, if we don't choose the Show Import Options, it's going to work very similar. But let's go ahead and choose Show Import Options for right now. Then we'll select this albumsales.doc file here. All right. So the Microsoft Word import options are quite a bit more extensive here. There's a lot more options, and that's because there's a lot more possibilities for elements to exist in a Word file that may need to be translated by InDesign. We've got things like table of contents, footnotes, and endnotes. Now I know that our file doesn't include anything like that, so we'll just kind of skip down here and let's take a look at formatting for right now. Right now it's set to preserve the styles and formatting from text and tables coming in. So that means that all those colors and formatting changes that were made in Word, those are going to come into InDesign here. Now, we do have several other options here, but keep in mind that Microsoft Word has its own set of styles, and a lot of these options have to do with how those styles come into InDesign. Are they mapped to InDesign styles? Are they creating new styles in InDesign? So, if we're wanting to bring in a Microsoft Word table and strip the formatting out of it, we need to make sure and select this option right here to remove styles and formatting from text and tables. Now you also want to come down here to Convert Tables To and make sure you have Unformatted Tables selected here instead of Unformatted Tabbed Text. If you select that option, it's going to come in looking a lot like the text that we converted to a table in the previous lesson. So we'll go ahead and select Unformatted Tables here, and let's go ahead and hit OK. And again, we'll draw in our text frame. And you see that Microsoft Word table comes right in with all the formatting stripped out of it, and it looks very similar to the Excel table, being that we have white cells with a black stroke around all of the cells in table. Now, in my own experience, I very rarely work with tables that were created in Microsoft Word. Typically what I bring in from Word is text that needs to be placed in for, say, body copy. So in that case, I would want to go into my options and make sure that I don't have this create links option checked, just because body copy and whatnot is probably not going to change. So let me go ahead and uncheck that again. I'm going to switch that back to the default setting here. And I tell you what, in this lesson we have learned how to bring table data in from both Microsoft Word and Microsoft Excel. Now in the next lesson we're going to pick up where we're leaving off here, and we're going to move back up here and begin working again on our tour schedule table here, and we're going to look at how we can format headers and footers.